even trying to paint a picture of it being doom and gloom. It's about lifting yourselves to a standard where the best in the world are at. And you're going to have to beat the best in the world to be the best in the world at a global tournament like a World Cup.
Speaking about those core players that Coach Mali has been keeping around, you really are situations like that, they take a stand as well. And the thing is, over all these series and warm-up games and matches that they've been playing together, chemistry starting to come about for the team too. Spoke about being in the capping ceremony yesterday. You were actually hosting it. And it's the spirit as well of the team. It does infiltrate when things are down, because you just click back to the conversations that you've had all this time to light the fire back in the boys in times of adversity. And right now it's pretty adverse after 14 overs at 56 for 5.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you form a bond, you form a brotherhood over a period of time. And Mali Maketa was speaking about how this group of players slightly different from how they've operated in the past, where they've got him in earlier to work with. I've spent a little bit more time knowing them personally, what gets them tick, what their shortcomings are. So they'll have to rely on that. The fact that they've been together for an extended period of time, tap back into those camps where they were tested from a fitness point of view, from a skill point of view, to carry them forward and bring together some really good results at the World Cup.
The opposition here really not making it easy. I'm sure it's expected, but not to this degree, I believe, because at least the first 2 games, there were some sort of contest. You see the fights from each side. This India have really taken away from the beginning of the match. And so, when you saw them fielding, their heads did fall a little bit, and it didn't help with some of the dropped catches. Some were easy, some were difficult. But then it's those small things that end up making a difference. So it's a lot of work to create that sharpness in the players, that at all times they must expect that such and such will happen.
It's a lovely ball that from Mohan.
Rolls his fingers around it. Pulled away from Paul James. He does have it in him to do just that. Pulls it in front of square for 4 runs.
Yeah, nice bit of aggression from Paul James. Just takes a little bit of a shimmy down the wicket. Gets into the line of that delivery. Is able to pull it in front of square. And through that vacant mid-wicket region for his first boundary.
Oh, that's keeping a little bit low indeed. It's not rising up, and it's not as true as it was. 15 overs sees the scores on 62 for 5. South Africa still 332 runs behind. The Indian camp will feel utterly relieved that they came to yet more different conditions. And again, they have dominated, whitewashing Australia 3-0. They won 3-1 basically against England going into the final match. And here they are again against South Africa, and they are very much home turf. They really have been amazing, this unit of players.
They've also been together for quite a while, this Indian side. Well fielded from Chauhan.
I really do believe, though, that it's only a matter of time until the standard goes back to what it was. Just drifts down the leg side. Daniel Bosman down, guides it down to the fine leg boundary. It's going to be another 4. Loose delivery from Kanushk Chauhan. Goes for 4.
Yeah, drifted just slightly straight onto those pads of the left-hander. It was Chauhan. And at that pace, Bosman, all he needs to do is get a better bat on it. And runs away all the way to the fine leg boundary for 4.
I think the reason why I say that in a couple of years' time, South Africa will be back to, will actually exceed whatever standard they once had, is because you think about what these Indian players are playing towards. What is their end goal in their cricket? And that is the Indian Premier League in essence, because that's where they're going to make bundles of money and open the doors to more cricket around the world. And so when you get seen by those at a young age and they invest in you, you've basically secured what you have invested yourself in. Now with the South African players and the whole world seeing how big the SA20 is becoming, now the South African players too will see a very bright path ahead for themselves. As you see, over number 16, 67 for 5. David Midgley joins us back in commentary. Change in commentary, change in bowler. R.S. Ambrish. He comes in. Fine all-rounder for India. He's been watching the spectacle fall around him. 5 wickets. 12 wickets in his 10 innings. That keeps dreadfully low. Surface has taken a bit of a beating. You look at that, just flaky everywhere. Daniel Bosman trying to do some gardening, hoping that something will keep up. But this is difficult for South Africa.
Yeah, that man was ball in hand. It wasn't difficult for him in the last game. 2 for 47 from his 8, and an economy of less than 6. And as a result, he can bowl with some confidence. 67 for 5, Mpendulo. Where to from here? For India, it's a matter of snuffing the game out quickly and still the possibility of a super over. Then the questions start being asked.
Explain to the people why we're going to have a super over, possibly. Nicely pulled. Daniel Bosman says, I'm still here to fight. He's adjusted to a little bit of the low bounce. He had to keep low, and it goes for 4.
Yeah, he's just examining his bat there, but the way it came off of the willow, you wouldn't expect that he felt he got less of it. Maybe the toe end of the bat, but bats these days are so good. Just hairs away to the boundary for 4. Played it very late. He keeps wringing his hands, and I'm wondering if that earlier incident of jamming his hand or his bat into the ground and the vibrations that come with it still giving him some problems. We haven't yet forgotten about the conditions for the super over. We'll give that to you at the end of the over. But an important innings here for Daniel Bosman.
It's an important innings for all of the South African batters right now. The chances of you winning from here are very slim. He keeps saying bat for time. Daniel Bosman has to bat for time, but he's not having a good time with that left hand. Corne Buasa earlier on hurt his lower back. Surely you don't want another player falling just before the World Cup. They steal a single. It's very nicely done. That stopped by Kanesh Chauhan, ending over number 17. 72 for 5 for South Africa. The equation says 300.
After putting India into bat this morning, 393 for 7. Suryavanshi 127. George 118. Sawhney with 3 wickets. Rolls with 2 and 1 from Kreiskamp. But it has been calamitous for South Africa with bat in hand. Kishan Kumar has been at his destructive best. So, why are we playing a super over? It is as simple as this. During the course of this series between South Africa A and South Africa under 19 and India under 19, the conversation was, 1, we want to play World Cup playing conditions so that we're all familiar with it come World Cup in a short amount of time. The other side of that is that sometimes there may present an opportunity to play in a super over in a World Cup. And as a result, South Africa and India have agreed that if the opposition, or the opportunity rather, didn't present itself during the course of the first 2 games or even the third game, that they were going to play or simulate a super over to allow both teams the opportunity to experience what that is like, because it's not a common occurrence, and almost like penalties in football, if you don't train for it, you'll never know what to do in that pressure moment. So, so then the question then is twofold. Who then bowls for India in that super over, and who bats for South Africa? Because you probably argue and say Suryavanshi and George are your batters, given the form that they are in today. For South Africa, maybe a Michael Kreiskamp, maybe a Daniel Bosman. It's a gamble. You know, JJ Basson has gone at 10 to the over. Bosman has been very tidy, 5 to the over from his 10 overs. But who then does the job with bat in hand for South Africa in that super over?
The West Indies, part of the under-19 group, South Africa and under-19 will be. And at the end of this month, the senior men's team will be right here in South Africa, starting off in Paarl on the 27th, going to Centurion afterwards, and then the pink T20 game. First time it's going to be a T20 match at the Wanderers right on the end of January. All games starting at 6 p.m. All games T20s, and that too being a preparation for the ICC T20 World Cup.
Busy time. Lovely little joke there as Suryavanshi gets ready to turn his arm over. Conversation between Bosman and Vaibhav Suryavanshi, just suggesting that maybe the 14-year-old should consider playing in SA20. Not too many players from the Indian subcontinent playing in the SA20.
Would be such good exposure. But it's good he already has an IPL century. Can do it everywhere, this young lad. So maybe at such a young age, exposing him to that in different conditions too. Even the talent of Abhigyan Kundu standing behind the wicketkeeper, it's been really good, even behind the stumps. Multi-talented team here, this Indian side. Where did we hear this joke though?
On the stump mic. Just as they were coming back for drinks, Daniel Bosman said, "Oh, don't you want to become an SA20 player?" Just falls through the hands there for the single. Good throw. Hits the stumps as well. What a world that would be to see young Vaibhav Suryavanshi playing for your favorite SA20 team. Or even CSA T20.
Bosman might want to try in the T20 CSA competition. A lot of opportunities available from both Division 1 and Division 2. And it's moments like these where you're able to stand up and just show your difference and show your game without having to prove a point. Just play the situation as it comes. Shows a maturity in your game. And when people are watching around, they start talking about you, they start looking at you. It's these matches, even though they are dead, that still raise your value. Paul James ups his value too. Moves to 11 with that really good slap cut shot. Goes for 4.
When you get the square drive right, it is just something to behold. Cuts that away, and the moment you've beaten the inner ring fielder, it's a mere formality. Crucial here for Paul James to spend some time in the middle, to score some runs. He's had a relatively unsurprising youth ODI series.
All the praise, Ambrish. Luckily not in the stumps for Daniel Bosman, who I'm sure after people hear what's going on will have their eyes, and it's been a very good 34.
To add to his 10 overs as well. So he's offering you something both with bat and ball.
And just keeping it ticking. You want to bat, try to bat as long as you possibly can. If from here you can still bat out all the 32 overs that are remaining, it's a long way away. But getting yourself to a 200, that will be big bucks for South Africa. It needs a strong partnership though.
You're still avoiding my question, Pendulo. Who bats for South Africa in the Super Over? If we get there. Obviously, match referee Mr. Wadvala saying, Yusuf, what is it, Yusuf? Shade Wadvala. So I was correct. Mentioning to me that all things being equal and the weather playing along, that we would get that Super Over.
Pulls it over mid-wicket. Very nicely done by Paul James. Another boundary. And South Africa moves to 88.
Just looking at the way that He applies himself at the crease, James. Yes, he's played that with some power, but he just approaches the game very, very not cautiously. That's the wrong word. Confidently, but calm confidence is the word I'm looking for.
The thing is, to answer your question, our match referee, Mr. Vadvala, says all things equal and weather permitting, the equation is currently not equal.
What is unequal to you?
That is the end of over number 19. 84 for 5. What's unequal? We always take a look at the current score and what the Duckwood Lewis Stern score would be. A little bit of darkness, but when we look at what the South African score is, it's 84 for 5. The DLS par score at this moment for South Africa to be par or to win, they need to be on 257 or more. So they are around 170 odd runs behind from the Duckwood Lewis par score. So things are not really equal. And so you ask yourself, if they do simulate the super over, how much heart and how much of that intensity can you actually simulate when you didn't experience it for the whole day? One team has been superior, one team has been not. And one that has been superior brings a bowling change. Mohammed Enan, decent economy rates for a leg spinner. Hard skill, but I think he's going to get some very good purchase because we've seen some good bounce and good spin. So I'm not sure if the super over is going to do what it's intended, because it's very much a psychological thing more than it is a skill thing.
I hear what you're saying. You want it to be
See, and that's the issue. Even if there were moments, like long periods in the game, where South Africa felt like they had an upper hand, they could at least tap into
in the over, and I'll give you in the over, and I'll give you a little bit more of an insight as to why I believe he's on the money here. All of this is preparation for a World Cup. You've arguably blown away your opposition. So now an opportunity to presents itself as we end the 20th over, 90 for 5. An opportunity presents itself then for you to provide opportunities to bowlers who may not have been considered your first choice bowlers, but who may come into your participation at the World Cup. And so when you have the opportunity for them to bowl in a match situation, it then allows them to gain some confidence in a low pressure environment. So just as much as it is important for the South African batters to occupy time at the crease, it's just as important for your bowlers number 4, 5, 6, 7, and maybe 8 to get that opportunity to turn their arm over and maybe even pick up a wicket.
just like the two openers for the batters, laid such a good platform for the rest of the bowl batters to just come do their thing. I think it's the same thing here, and you raise an excellent point. Hanil Patel, Kishan Kumar, at the start that they gave, they allowed the rest of the bowling units to just come do their thing. In games like these, you hardly find bowlers completing their full quota of overs. So that's when you do give your part-time a chance to come and bowl Vaibhav even giving himself overs in between. I'm sure he's going to come on and continue bowling a little bit more overs as well. Because really, if your over goes for 20 runs, what is it to in the context of the game? Because you need probably around 15 more of those overs. They are not going to come.
The way he's doing it is maturity beyond his years. Amrish is bowling from one end, so you're getting a fast bowler with bowling hours, so to speak, under his belt. The other side, you're rotating your spinners, and so you're giving the spinners opportunity to bowl, but also allowing your seam bowlers to have match practice.
Lovely. Absolutely gorgeous from Paul James. Straight as an arrow. Driven for 4 against Ambrish.
What a glorious, glorious stroke. We were just chatting about opportunities to shine. And with a shot like that, well, the light is very bright from Paul James.
Superb stroke. Weight transfer, perfect to a T. Wasn't extravagant hand movement, more like a punch. But everything working in unison for Paul James. It's a great partnership between these two. They've lost a couple of wickets via run out, South Africa. More cautious that time.
Intelligent cricket here, because they ran the first one so hard, and the genuine temptation is to turn for the second. See how the confident stroke there is followed up by sensible cricket. Just shows the maturity on the head of these youngsters.
21 overs completed. South Africa under 19 on 97 for the loss of 5. Bosman and James's 6th wicket partnership now worth 47 runs. At least South Africa have been able to take down the target to below 300. They need 297.
Time now for a change in commentary as Mpendulo makes way for Pilasande. And the opportunities continue to present themselves. Mohamed Inan continuing from the Ekurhuleni end. And the leg spinner given a go here to try and maybe cause some problems for the South African batters. The key is not to let the game drift away from you. Really want to snuff this out quickly. Oh, it's miscued. The wait will be to see if there is anything on it. Leg buys. It is indeed leg buys. And somebody we don't ever want to say goodbye to is Pilasande Sitlaba. Good afternoon to you. Welcome back.
It's finally the afternoon, yes. Good afternoon, David. Enjoyed the way that Paul James has batted in this innings. He's come in with some good, positive intent. And so too has Daniel Bosman. He watched him in the second youth ODI. Similar to how he operates. He takes a bit of time to get going. James has come in and really played some really good strokes. Looked to be aggressive. He's come down to some of the quick bowlers. Nice timing as well. So it's a great opportunity, really. I mean, we've been harping on it for them to be able to just bat for as long as they possibly can. Bat their 50 overs.
Unconvincing that time, but I think that's the key from the leg spinners to try and force those errors from the South Africans. And this is invaluable in terms of planning how they will approach the spin of Afghanistan in that first game at Windhoek. Well, the call is wait, and he has to go back and be patient. And 22 overs have been completed, 99 for 5. The direct translation, Pilar, of Windhoek, for those who aren't familiar, windy corner.
Yeah, my Afrikaans is not that bad. I think I would have maybe been able to work that out. Windy corner, Windhoek.
Windhoek, yeah. I don't know where Windhoek's wind compares to Gqeberha, your side of the world. PE can be treacherous when in and around there.
Nothing compares to that wind. I can tell you now.
Gets in your head, and I think that's the difficulty that some people have when going down to play at St. George's. Not only the wind, but the band as well. But getting in the head here of the South Africans is going to be crucial. I think India are letting the game drift a little bit. They got that 5th wicket of rolls, and then since then it's almost been a little bit pedestrian from the men in blue.
I'll tell you a story of a game that I played once at St. George's Park, a club game back in my university days. Obviously, the university club plays in the club competition down there, and played a few finals down there at St. George's Park. It is probably the most difficult place to go and catch.
They are confident in the end. It was a bit of a hurry up and wait situation because a confident appeal meant that umpire Mthokozisi Shezi wasn't so sure. He had to check with his partner, and once she gave him the thumbs up, it was a formality. A valiant knock from Daniel Bosman comes to a close. Just to try to play it down the wrong line. The outside edge going through to the wicketkeeper. And South Africa's 6th falls. It's 99 for 6.
Yeah, another batter just playing across the line. Karen Cluster just confirming with Mthokozisi Shezi that ball carried to the wicketkeeper. And a very good catch from Kundu. And it breaks a really good partnership between James and Bosman that was building nicely.
Let's have a look at this one again. He's trying to flick it away. Square of the wicket on the onside. Gets the wrong end. And the wicketkeeper nonplussed really about that one. Normally the wicketkeepers are the most vocal. Nevertheless, Corner Botha comes to the wicket. A young man sporting a moustache, maybe trying to emulate the great fast bowlers in world cricket. Mitchell Johnson, Arnold Nokia, both sported rather. A wonderful moustache. Boone as well, Merv Hughes.
I can tell you it's the preferred look in Krugersdorp, that
The snor, as it's called in Afrikaans.
100%.
The Travis head these days. So it's not only bowlers, but batters as well. He wants to emulate the Australian opener. He's nearly got him first up. An absolute hooper of a delivery. And a puff of dust as he slammed his bat into the ground to try and keep that one out.
It's a good ball. It's a good ball to get first up. I don't think he would have expected a Yorker steering in to off stump. It just perilously went past that off stump.
And he's off the mark. Just an educated edge Backward point, puts in a dive, and just parries that. And Aaron George has to do the fielding.
Just to continue that story about PE.
Sorry, and the 100 up for South Africa under 19.
I think we needed about 2 wickets to win the game, and lower orders in. And they're trying to hack everything. And there's a pocket at St. George's where
end of the over. 23 have been completed, a 100 for 6. And we're still listening to the wind causing havoc in Gqeberha.
it's towards the, if you're heading from the Duck Pond end, which is the furthest end, towards Park Drive end, there's a cow corner, sort of corner there where
the wooden benches
exactly
side?
And
Okay.
it's just opened a little bit that side.
Yep.
And when the ball gets hit into the air there, the wind just swirls. Remember Sasanda Magala was bowling and better trying to hit it there. I think we dropped about 4 catches in that one spot. Difficult ground to catch.
Treacherous as Inan begins a new over.
So when I watch, let's say, 20 games or first-class games there, I almost understand why so many fielders drop catches there. You think it's coming and then it doesn't. And then when you think it's not coming, the wind takes it towards you at a rapid pace.
Yeah, adding to your woes as a fielder, if the band is behind you, because normally they're on those stands, am I correct? Yes, so when you have the band behind you, you're in the deep, the crowd is going mad, the wind is swirling. Stern test for anyone worth their mettle. Just worked away for the single. And the temptation is, well, that we're being negative in terms of where the game is, but DLS par at this point is 298. South Africa under 19, 101 for 6. You can see how green that field is, almost matching the South African colors, largely due to the rain that we've been having. Swept and swept hard. There's some work down there in the deep, but it'll tear away for a most welcome boundary. It was a confident stroke on one knee and crunched it away.
Yeah, Paul James continues to bat really nicely. He's developed a nice plan to both seam and spin here. The line is not good from Mohammad Anan. All he needs to do is get a really good piece of bat on it. Gets past that man stationed at short fine, and the man in the deep boundaries too much in front of square to be able to cut it off.
And I suspect sometimes when you go to tournaments in new places, not only the stadium is new at Windhoek, but playing in Namibia is not something as this one's driven down the ground, not something that the South Africans will be familiar with. And yes, while it may certainly be similar as we end the 24th over, 106 for 6, it may be similar to South Africa. There may be subtle things, like you mentioned the wind in PE, that can throw teams off when they get there. And so the acclimatization period leading up to the World Cup, the warm-up games, crucial.
Yeah, very much. Conditions overhead, conditions on the 22 yards that they're going to be playing on. Those are the sort of things that they need to acclimatize themselves very quickly. Similarly to this Indian side, when they go to Bulawayo for their group stage matches. It'll be hot in Namibia, I can assure you that. Hot, dry.
What an absolutely sumptuous stroke on one knee. And he's just launched that away 6.
Beautiful. What a shot that is from Paul James. He's scoring at a runner ball 35 here. And that one is just so good. Again, just coming down the wicket towards Ambrish. And he's just slammed him over onto the bank for 6. It's a beautiful shot.
The crucial thing there is that he's created that shot relatively from nothing, because he's come across his stumps, almost standing outside off stump, and he's hoiked this away onto the onside. And it's not just popped over the boundary, it's sailed over the rope. So a brief intermission here as the ball retrieval committee seem to have to want to get the new ball. The umpires will summon Stacey Lakay out and say, we'd like to have a gander at the box, if you will.
Yeah, I think that ball's just gone onto the road. That's how big that hit is. I think the ball retrieval party may have to forfeit it. Yeah, pointing at the road there. Lovely shot. And when you see Paul James playing like this, he has the ability to score at a really good rate. All he needs is a good platform. A platform to be able to express himself. He is the sort of the aggressor in the South African batting lineup. So you kind of want to look in hindsight, what if South Africa gave him a better platform to be able to express himself the way that he has in this innings of 35 from 35.
Yeah, those what ifs and the conversation around them allow you to maybe plan a bit better going into that first game against Afghanistan, and noting and saying, well, gents, we saw in this instance in the third game that this is exactly what we need to do in order to allow for the success of a player like Paul James. And that's exactly what you want, is to set up every team member for success. It's quick running forces an error from the Indian fielders. I'm very grateful that they decided not to go for the second. We saw a calamitous run out involving Arman Manak in that first game that genuinely turned the game, because that run out coming just before the second intermission of lightning that ultimately led to the close of the game.
Yeah, fortunately also for Corner Porter, he had sprinted right past the stump, so it made it really difficult for him to turn and look for that single.
Yeah, the exclamation coming from Corne Botha, because he knows that he's missed out on a bit of a freebie there. Full toss. He's just tamely bunted it back in the direction of the bowler, just straight. He almost needed to free his arms. There is acreage out there on the onside, and if he just beats the fielder at mid-wicket and mid-on, it's a matter of foregone conclusion. I was concerned that Corne Botha wasn't going to come out to bat, but you've mentioned he's from Krugersdorp. They build him hard there on South Africa, or Gauteng's West Rand rather. It's tough going out there. All the mining that goes on in that area.
Yeah, there was no way they was never going to come out to bat. Absolutely no way. I don't think the residents of Krugersdorp would have approved his visa back into the area. It's a top edge. It'll bounce away and be cut off by the third fielder. And just for the single. He struggled with the back when he was fielding a rather wild throwback from Michael Kruiskamp, trying to run out the batter, the striker's end, and missed Patlo Mohlaga, the wicket keeper, and then it almost went to the boundary for 4. Good work from Corne Botha. Just then extended his back a little bit there. He seems to be okay.
Big shot from the Indian players, but I don't think they're going to get much joy out of umpire Shezi with a delivery like that. Over has been bowled. We are halfway through the South African innings. 114 for 6. What do you make of it, Pila? Close?
Yeah, just drifting. Even though James shuffled across his stumps, I think the angle from Ambrish was just taking it past that leg stump. Former player himself, former bowler himself, Mthokozisi Shezi.
Left arm medium?
Yeah. I actually remember one day international, I think he played for South Africa against Zimbabwe. And servant of the game for the Dolphins for a very long time, Mthokozisi Shezi.
Continues to serve the game in umpiring, and I think that's precisely what Cricket South Africa are looking at when they look at their long-term athlete development model. Is active for life, and that's exactly what he's doing here. And that's what you want. You want a player coming in at, KFC mini cricket at that, 4, 5, and 6 years old and giving everything back to the game, because I think if you take the words of Sachin Tendulkar into consideration, you are a custodian of the game. For however long you are a custodian of the game, you are responsible for the game. And just like Don Bradman before him was a custodian, arguably Virat Kohli is a custodian since Sachin Tendulkar's retirement. Outside edge, desperate dive there, and this is on its way to the boundary. It's going to take a serious effort to cut it off. He won't get there in time, and 4 runs.
Yeah, nice bowling though from Mohamed Enan. Induces the edge from Kone Buota. Slip. Can't get to it. And because of the pace of it, it runs away to the boundary very quickly for 4.
Credit to the slip as well. He even tried to anticipate by shuffling to his right-hand side. You're a custodian for the game. What you do with it will be your legacy. Quick call of yes from Bueta.
Yeah, it's nice to see former players still active in the game at whatever level. Not everybody's going to be an administrator. Not everybody has the gift of coaching. So to come back and to see guys like Shezi and Nabongile Sodumo plowing back as match officials.
Arne Jacobs is another one that comes to mind. End of another over. 26 have been completed. 119 for 6.
Brad White as well. So many former players going into the umpiring route, so it's really nice. Also, what you get with that, they've got the natural feel of the game. So it makes their transition into umpiring a little bit easier from somebody who probably hasn't played the game at a competitive level. Makes decision making a little bit easier. Dealing with temperaments and egos of players a little bit easier to control.
I remember the first team coach of one of the prominent boys' schools in Johannesburg saying to me that he wanted his players to go to an umpiring course and maybe, if they can, get involved at primary school level or even, junior club games, because it gives you a perspective on the game that it is almost impossible to achieve without it. like you said, managing temperaments, but also the way in which you as a player are able to get a read of the game, because you can almost, after a while, you watch enough cricket and suddenly you can almost sense there's something coming here, for better and for worse. And to be able to be prepared for that is vital.
And it's an unforgiving job, isn't it? I mean, you spend, depending on the format of the game, a number of hours in the field, hot conditions. To be able to concentrate that long, mental fitness, physical fitness. A lot of the umpires are obviously mandated to go through a fitness regime to be able to sort of deal with the conditions that they face by standing for a very long time, the concentration levels. As much as you hate the fitness sessions from the SNC while you're a player, it doesn't really go away, does it, David?
No, certainly not. And if you realize how much you trained as a player, it certainly makes things easier. I want to just come back to the game here with this over from Mohan Udav. He's bowled without much fuss. He's just come on, back into the attack, replacing Oris Ambrish, and he's bowled a very tidy over, just the one from it. Maybe trying to turn things back to try and 27 have been completed. 121 for 6.
He's looked nice, actually. Udaf Mohan has bowled with really good control. He's picked up a wicket also for his efforts today to this Indian side.
Again, Buerta misses out on a freebie. Yeah, curious that you have captain and vice captain out injured, wrist injuries. It's not like one has a foot and the other one the wrist, both for similar injuries. Too many high fives. With the proficiency with which they beat England and then Australia and now South Africa, you can understand why.
Too many celebrations. Nice from James. Look the part here. Also, when you look at a player, you look at the options that he has in his arsenal to be able to accumulate runs. Jason Rolls is one of those guys that I've seen in the side that has a solid game plan and how he wants to accumulate runs. And often at this level, young players sort of find it difficult to have a clear sort of plan of how they want to accumulate guys. But Paul James has had it from the get-go from this innings and how he wants to score his runs. He's mixed aggression with sensibility. He's been one of the shining lights in a performance that South Africa might be, at the end of the day, a little bit disappointed in. 125 for 6 after 28. Mohanudav to continue. Slammed away from Kone Porter. That's the power that he possesses. He's been eyeing that extra cover gap from Mohanudav's bowling for quite a while now, and this time uses his feet and gets it to perfection. A boundary to welcome Bundilo Makubani to the commentary box.
Can hit them hard, Corne Puerta. With enough work, he can make himself a true, genuine all-rounder.
Top edge. There's protection there, and it does. I think he does well there, yeah. Might have saved a couple of runs.
Corne Puerta is truly fearless. He's unafraid of going for anything. Good ball from Udav Mohan. Fighting stop from Kishan Kumar.
Stronger hit down the ground this time. Have to come back for the second. Didn't get all of it at Corne Porter, but I think he's decided now that it's time to just up the ante.
There's really not much to fight for anymore. He's been out there for 22 deliveries as well. Have fun with it. It's his style of game anyway. I think the loss of Daniel Bosman really just sealed the deal completely. The possibility of a bowl of being bowled out became very high. So he's withstood the pressure, and I think also to a certain degree that there's a switch off to even the opposition, because they know that they've won the game regardless from this point onwards. So just taking advantage of that, they still chattering, they still loud, but at least you're throwing it out there. Paul James has been great as well.
Yeah, probably would sound like a broken record a little bit now, but it's about just making sure you don't get bowled out if you're South Africa. You bet your 50 overs. Spend time out on the wicket. Keep India out for as long as possible in the field. While also not compromising on your own natural game. End of the 29th was 135 for 6.
After not being able to complete his spell of overs, having a niggle on his lower back, it's very good that Corne Porter is out there. He's faced 24 deliveries for his 20 runs. Really hard work from the South African domestic system to try and push out more of young cricket, development cricket, as much as possible, all coming live and being streamed. All of these gentlemen now, they've played your Kamachola week, your national weeks. We're currently playing this concurrently with Cubs week. So it's good. Next week we're starting phase 2 of the schools SA20. So there's a lot of cricket happening with the school system. Festivals happening around as well. They've started. So that increases the pool of players that can be developed It exposes the players more as well. Learn how to play under the lights, create pressure, learn how to play under that pressure, with the hopes that it can transfer into this level.
Yeah, the pipeline is certainly healthy. I think with the added layer of the school's SA20 also just gives it an extra boost. I mean, I remember growing up in the Eastern Cape, you only met teams and schools from